All right, just some observations of the LDS or Mormon uh, lifestyle here in Salt Lake or around Salt Lake. Something that's really peculiar to me, just bicycling around the area, is there's a lot of reference to bees and Deseret. So they have this belief that came out of their early beginnings with Brigham Young, where the bees, the Deseret, and that's what originally they wanted to name Utah, was Deseret. But that's like a lifestyle that they wanted to focus on, and like maybe model themselves after the Beehive. One thing that really bothers me about the mindset is they make a lot of pictures and depictions of the Skep Beehive. Well, that's been replaced now by the Langstroth. Okay, the Skep Beehive is I keep forgetting the word, but it's replaced by the Langstroth. It's just not as useful as the Langstroth. Like I studied beekeeping, and I looked into farming and how to get like the tax benefits to be considered a full-time farmer in beekeeping. And you need at least, they say, 50 hives, and that shows a good commitment to being to farming, where you should be profitable. You know, you can make it a almost like a full-time business. It's just the beginnings of a full-time business with beekeeping. But that's with the Langstroth hives. If you tried to use those Skep hives that you see all over the place with the LDS and the Deseret and all that, I don't even know if that would be allowed, if that would be approved, because Skeps don't. You got to kill the hive to get the honey out of those things. You got to destroy the whole hive. Whereas with Langstroth, you just take the shelves out at a time, and just empty those and then replace them. It's, for farming, I think you'd probably need a lot more Skeps. Maybe they measure it differently, but that's the Skep is inconsequential. It's just not as productive. But that's how the Mormons like to depict their Deseret in the early days. In the mid 1800s, the Skep was the predominant way of beekeeping. But then in the late 1800s, the Langstroth model came out, and they never adopted that newer look. It's not as cartoonish. Okay, you see these Skeps, they're kind of, they're a little more attractive, and it's maybe it's a historical reference to beekeeping. You can find what videos on YouTube about Skep beehives and how they go through that procedure, and it's interesting. It's very different from the Langstroth approach. There are still people who still do the Skep, but yeah, the bees are not natural. They're not native to North America. All right, I read somewhere about Indian comments in that the Indians said that it was the white man's fly. So there's the introduction of bees by the white man. So the ideas that came with the Mormons, is entirely European. All right, with the bees and all that. And that's just how their thinking goes, and there's a lot of just ideas that are very much in line with beekeeping.